Welcome to episode 9. From the time we are recording this, we are only 9 days out from running 100 miles at the Crazy Mountain 100-mile ultra marathon. And earlier this week, I put out a Q&A on my Instagram asking you guys what questions you have about running, specifically ultra marathons. So I took the top 20 questions that I thought everybody could benefit from or learn something from, and I'm going to answer them in this video. Before I answer these questions, I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this entire series, Brooks Running. They've been a huge supporter of me. I've been loving wearing their shoes and their gear for the last several months as I prepare for this ultra marathon. And I have an affiliate link down in the description. So if you guys want to try out any Brooks gear, their shoes, clothing, whatever, make sure to use that affiliate link. It just helps me so I can keep creating these videos for you guys. So with that being said, let's answer some of these questions. Question number 1. What is harder, a road marathon or a trail ultra marathon? That's a great question. I think although road running and trail running are both running, I think they are two very different sports, very different activities. I think road running is a lot more physically challenging just because you're running a lot harder. A lot of times you're above your threshold effort. You're doing a lot more sprints, a lot more speed work. You're more focused on specific paces in road running. While trail running, it's a lot more based off of feel and effort. It's more time-based versus mileage-based. So in short, I think road running is harder physically and trail running is harder mentally. What is your longest run when training for a 100-miler? This is very subjective, obviously, depending on what your goal is for the race, what type of 100-mile race you're doing, what your experience level is and your fitness level. For me, for this prep, my longest run was 8 hours, which ended up being 22 miles, 9,000 feet of elevation gain. And really beyond about the 3-hour mark in a long run, you're not gonna get much more physically out of the run, but we're gonna be practicing more the mental side, making sure that we can get through a long day out on our feet. And we're also gonna be practicing fueling and nutrition, which are two massive things of ultra marathons. So in general, I'd say for a 100-miler, you want to cap your longest run at probably 6 to 10 hours, much more than that. You're just going to be delaying recovery too much. How many miles a week to train in order to run an ultra marathon? So again, this is very subjective depending on how long the race is that you're doing, what your fitness level is, what your experience level is. But the biggest thing when it comes to training for an ultra marathon is focusing more on hours or time spent running rather than miles. So in general, for a 50K, I would say you should aim for about 6 to 8 hours of training per week. For a 50-miler, probably 8 to 10 hours a week of running. And then for a 100-miler, which is what I'm doing, about 10 to 15 hours a week of training. Again, don't worry about paces, don't worry about specific mileage or kilometers, and just focus on time on your feet, time spent out running. What is your biggest piece of advice for my first ultra? I've gotten this comment and question a ton. There's tons of people getting into ultras and trail running, which I love. I think my biggest piece of advice is just worry about finishing the race. Don't worry about, I got to get this race done in 12 hours. I got to get this done in under 24 hours, whatever. I got to podium. Just get the race done. These races are so long and they're so difficult that if you start focusing on these very specific pacing and time goals and whatnot, that as soon as you fall off of that on race day, you're just going to turn into a downward spiral and you're not going to have a very good race. So really just focus on finishing the race. That's one of the great things about ultras and trail running is nobody cares how long it took you to finish the race. Nobody's asking what your 100-mile time is because every race is so different. All they care about is, did you finish the race? Yes or no? So that's my biggest piece of advice. Just get the race done. What motivates you? This is a great question, a deep question. The biggest thing is just being the best version of myself. I want to challenge myself physically, mentally. I want to see what my body's capable of, what my mind is capable of accomplishing. And I really don't want to be 70, 80 years old towards the end of my life and have regrets of, dang, why didn't I go do that 100-mile race I always wanted to do? Or why didn't I go climb up that mountain that I looked at every day, but I was too scared to do it? So that's my biggest thing, is just following my curiosities, finding that thing that's gonna create the best version of myself. And I think finding that thing that motivates you, especially on race day, if you're deep into an ultra marathon, that's what's gonna get you to keep going. That's what's gonna get you to the finish line, is remembering and coming back to that why of why are you doing this in the first place. So again, for me, just being the best version of myself, and I'm gonna be thinking about that a lot on race day. What do you eat before a run? So for any run that's under an hour, I generally don't eat anything. I prefer to just run on an empty stomach. There are also a lot of benefits of running on an empty stomach. Running fasted helps your body utilize fat a little bit more efficiently, helps your body not have to rely on glycogen and carbs quite as much. So that way when you do fuel properly with carbs during a big workout or a long run, then it's like rocket fuel. It's like nitrous oxide in your car. You can operate even more efficiently because your body can already operate efficiently on its own without all those carbs. If I am doing a long run or a speed workout, anything more than an hour, then I'll generally have maybe some applesauce, a honey plus gel, which is just straight honey, maybe some fruit snacks, a Morton solid, anything just like quick, easy, that's just straight, easy to digest carbs. What are your favorite running shoes? Got to give a shout out to Brooks on this one, just because I've been wearing their shoes for the last several months, preparing for this 100-mile race. My main go-to shoe has been the Brooks Catamount. I love those. They've got a good amount of cushion. They also have a rock plate, so they're a little bit stiffer, but I feel like I can run a little bit faster with those. I also love the Cascadia 19s. Brooks was nice enough to send those out to me. They don't come out until August 1st, so not for a couple more weeks. But I love the Cascadias. They got nice wide toe boxes. They got a good amount of cushion, very comfortable shoes. And I also love the Calderas. That's their most cushioned trail shoe. I like those a lot as well. So I'll kind of just be rotating between all of those. How to stay mentally strong during the race. Going into something like a 100-mile race or even a 50K, you can't think of the whole race all at once. That gets really overwhelming. You're going to get way too far into your head of like, oh my gosh, we've already ran 10 miles and we still have to go another 90 miles. That's daunting. So what I like to do is just chunk it down into get to the next aid station. I know there's an aid station coming up in 3 or 4 miles. Just get from here to there. If we can get from here to there, that's all we got to worry about right now. That's a huge hack for these longer races, is just chunk it up into small little bite-sized pieces and just get to that next checkpoint. What's your fueling process during the race? So I love relying on gels just because they're very precise. I can carry them with me. They're very calorie and carb dense. So I'll do a gel every 30 minutes. And then I will have switchback electrolytes in one of my bottles. So I'm always hydrating with sodium, potassium. I will also have a Morton drink mix in one of my bottles. That's basically a liquid version of a gel. So liquid calories in there. That's basically free carbs and calories as you're drinking and hydrating at the same time. And then when I get to the aid stations, I will have some solid food there as well. I always have my crew bring some milk, which is my absolute favorite thing to drink during a 100-mile race, is just craving milk all race. And then when I get to see my crew, that means I get to have some milk too. It has carbs, fats, protein, vitamins, electrolytes. It's hydrating you. You get a lot of calories. Milk is just the perfect endurance drink of all time. I also will have some like quesadillas. I'll have a lot of Coca-Cola because you get caffeine. It tastes good. You get carbs. I think the carbonation helps your stomach settle a little bit. Kind of anything and everything. I test all this during my training. I know what things work for my stomach. That's one of the biggest things with nutrition, is just try all this during your training. That way when you get to race day, you don't end up in the porta potty, because that is never fun. What's a common mistake you see people make during their first ultra marathon? I think the two biggest things is neglecting speed work and neglecting strength training. Both of those are going to go so far for you on race day, and it doesn't really add that much extra effort into your training. You're already running. Just make one of your runs a week a speed workout, get your legs turned over, get your heart rate up. That's going to make you more fit. It's going to make all your other paces feel relatively easier. And then strength training, obviously, that's going to build more durability, more power in your legs, all the things we talk about endlessly on this channel. So don't neglect your speed work. Don't neglect your strength training. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm running an ultra. I'm not running that fast. I don't need to run that fast during training. That couldn't be further from the truth. So make sure you do your speed work. Make sure you do your strength training. Do you ever run twice in a day? There's definitely a lot of benefits to doing 2-a-days. I think the biggest thing with doing 2-a-days is just like, can you fit that into your schedule? And is it worth trying to fit it into your schedule? For me personally, I don't usually run twice a day. If I do a 2-a-day, then I will do generally my speed workout in the morning, and then I'll do like an easy 2-3 mile shakeout run in the evening. I feel like that can kind of help with the soreness and just kind of helps flush out and shake out your legs from the speed workout in the morning. There are a lot of benefits to 2-a-days, kind of just getting your body used to running whenever, running when your legs are tired. Again, a lot of it comes down to just scheduling. Do you have time to run twice a day, or just throw it all in one session? How do you hydrate during the race? So I always have 2 flasks with me minimum. Each flask is, I think mine are 650 milliliters. One of them always has just plain water with a filter cap. That way, if I come across a stream or a lake, I can always refill that. Always have fresh, clean filtered water with me. And then the other bottle will have water with a scoop or scoop and a half of switchback electrolytes. Each serving or each scoop is 1,000 milligrams. So I'm aiming for 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium per hour. And then in that bottle, again, I'll also have a Morton drink mix. So main goal is about a bottle an hour. So that's at least 500 milliliters per hour with 1,000 milliliters of 1,000 milligrams of sodium. The biggest thing with hydration is I tell everybody to just monitor your pee. Are you peeing an abnormal amount? If so, you probably should maybe drink a little bit less water or up your electrolyte intake a little bit. If you're peeing less than you think you should be, or not very often, then you probably want to drink more water or pull back on your electrolytes a little bit. And monitor the color of your urine. Generally, the clearer that your pee is, the more hydrated you are, obviously. More often than not, your pee is probably gonna be a little bit darker during an ultra marathon because you're sweating, you're dehydrated. So if your pee is dark, drink more water or back off on your electrolytes just a little bit. But hydration and electrolytes are just a balance. So I think monitoring your urine, best way to go about checking your hydration levels. Do you ever feel burnt out from all this training? That's a great question. I think burnout comes from boredom more than anything. I think boredom is an easy fix, whether it's running on a new route, running with new people, getting a new pair of shoes, a new piece of gear to test out, signing up for a new type of race. I think burnout's very common within the running world just because running is very repetitive, obviously. You're just doing the same thing every single day, but it just comes from boredom. And so if you can find a way to fight that boredom, I think you can find a way to fight burnout as well. What is your favorite running vest? I've tried a lot of different running vests. By far, my favorite is the Salomon running vest. They have a whole bunch of different sizes. The one I use is 10 liters, so it's the Sense Pro 10. That one is excellent. It fits great. It's easy. There's a ton of pockets. It is just the perfect size for a 100-mile race or less, I think. They do have a bigger one that I have. I think it's like the ADV Skin 12. But Salomon, in my opinion, makes the best hydration vest by far. Do you ever stretch? No. I don't think there's any benefits to static stretching when it comes to running. And there's a lot of science to back that up. There are, however, benefits to dynamic stretching. So moving through your stretches and continuously having motion and that like active component to your stretching. But sitting and holding a stretch for 30, 60 seconds, if you think of your muscles like a spring, you want that spring to be tight and snappy. And when you stretch, you're just stretching out that spring, making it looser. So you might feel better, you might be more flexible, but it's not really gonna help you with running at all. So for that reason, I don't static stretch. I will do some like dynamic movements, obviously a lot of strength training, and yeah, so no stretching for me. How does road running compare to trail running? I kind of answered this earlier, but I always say this. I say road running is good for your mind and trail running is good for your soul. I think road running is a lot more boring, in my opinion. You're just running on roads. It feels very repetitive. It's a lot more mentally taxing, I feel like, because it is just more boring. And a lot of times you're running harder. However, trail running, you're out in nature. You're somewhere beautiful. You're with trees and potentially wild animals. You have epic views. You're not necessarily worried so much about your pace. You're more just focused on effort and just getting the run done. And for that reason, I think trail running is a lot more spiritual. It's a lot more soul fulfilling, in my opinion. So I also think I'm a lot more sore from road running versus trail running, just because of the surfaces that you're running on. The roads are obviously way harder, a lot more impact on your body. And even like after a marathon, I am way more sore than I am after a 100-mile ultra marathon. So just because of the surface that we're running on. So that's kind of the main differences, I would say. Do you take any supplements? Yes, I take protein powder pretty much every single day. I use Taha. Shout out to Taha. I also take colostrum, also from Taha. I think colostrum is one of the most powerful and maybe most underutilized supplements for recovery. Colostrum, if you don't know, comes from mammals right after they give birth. So it is extremely nutrient dense, vitamin dense, just rich with probiotics and all this good stuff. So it's great for your gut, great for your immune system, really helps your body recover faster. So I take colostrum every single day. I also take creatine every day. That's great for muscle recovery, also great for your brain. I take a multivitamin every day. I take an extra zinc supplement, just better for the immune system. And then I also use a lot of different types of mushrooms, both kinds of mushrooms, mental and the like adaptogenic type of mushrooms. So a lot of like cordyceps, lion's mane, reishi, chaga, all the stuff that's good for your brain, your body, your immune system. There's a lot of science showing different types of mushrooms help with preventing like cancer or Alzheimer's. Tons of benefits of mushrooms. So I take a lot of different kind of mushroom supplements. How to train for Vert and Descent when living in a flat place. I had to deal with this living in Texas last year, training for a 100-mile race. And the first part of this prep for this 100-mile race, there's three main things I would say. One is if you have access to a treadmill, get on an incline treadmill. That's going to be the closest replacement for mountain training is incline treadmill. Next best would be a Stairmaster. Not quite as close just because there's probably not going to be a ton of stairs on your trail race. There could be, but at least you're still getting the incline aspect. And then the last thing is, I guess, if you have a hill near you, just do hill repeats, up and down, run up and down. I did that in Austin on the Hill of Life. It's about a half-mile hill. So you'd run down half a mile, run back up, run down, run up for hours on end. And that's great training because you're also getting the downhill. I think a lot of people forget about the downhill part of trail running or ultra marathons. Everybody's very focused on vert and incline, but really the downhill is where your legs take the biggest beating. So don't neglect the downhill. What are your favorite running gels? My main go-to running gel is Morton. I use the Morton 160s, 40 grams of carbs, 160 calories. Morton just works so good. It's tried and true. I've never, ever had stomach issues with Morton. It goes down easily. Honestly can't even tell that I take it most of the time just because they're so light and easily digested by your body. During an ultra, I like to mix in some Whole Foods gels as well, like Spring Energy. They had like a whole deal about them last year where their calories and everything were way off, but fortunately they have since fixed that. So I'll use Spring Energy. It's basically like an applesauce. And then I also use untapped maple syrup. Those are excellent gels, 100 calories per gel, and it's just pure maple syrup from Vermont. I love those. They have different flavors and stuff. So I'll usually alternate a Morton with one of the Whole Foods gels just to have some variety. I'm gonna be out there for 24 hours. I don't wanna be just taking the same exact gel over and over and over for 24 hours. So I like to mix it up a little bit and just have that whole food option as well. Last question, how do you taper for an ultra marathon? Great question. Similar to a marathon, I would give yourself about 2, maybe 3 weeks to start tapering before your race. The biggest thing with tapering is to maintain your intensity, but decrease your volume. So basically how most training programs work is you build, you peak just a couple weeks before your race, and then you taper just a little bit. When you're tapering, again, keep your intensity, so keep doing your speed work, keep doing your hill sprints, but just drop your volume, meaning running for less time each week. That way you can keep your legs fresh, they're feeling good, they're recovered, but you're staying sharp. So that way you can still go run a fast pace if you need to. You have that turnover in your legs, you keep your nervous system activated, but you're just decreasing the volume a little bit. And then when it comes to strength training for tapering, I do it a little bit differently, and this is just more of what I find works best for me, is I will keep the workouts the same. So I'll do the same reps, same amount of sets, but I will just drop the weights. So for like the first week of the taper, I'll just cut the weights in half. And then for the week of the race, I'll still do my same workout, same reps, same sets, same exercises, but just do body weight. That way I'm not adding any extra load to my body, but I'm still going through the movements, going through the motions, getting the blood flow, getting the joints moving and all that good stuff. So tapering is a crucial part of any training block because you don't want to do all this work and just go right into your race. You need to have that window to let your body rest and recover. But it is a sweet spot because you don't want to give yourself too much time because then you're going to start losing fitness. So that's how to taper. that is 20 questions about running and ultra marathons for you guys. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got something out of this video. If you have any more questions, feel free to put a comment down below. I'll happily get back to you. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support on this series. We're 9 days away from running Crazy Mountain 100. By the time you see this video, will only be 2 days out. So the next video, episode 10, will be after the race, I believe. So it's been a fun series. Let's keep building and let's go crush this 100-mile race. See you guys in the next video.